Math Lesson 121. Okay, on the screen there, you'll see 31 times 10. You should remember that this, when we multiply by 10, we can simply add a 0 to get to the correct answer. 31 times 100, you would be adding 2 zeros, 3 zeros, and you could go on and on if you wanted to. 80 times 100, remember to do 80 times 1 and then annex the 0. 80 times 1 and then annex 2 zeros. Don't get mixed up when there's a 0 in the problem. 10 times 1 and then add the 2 zeros. 10 times 1 and then add the 0. 100 times 1 and then add the 2 zeros. 100 times 10, 100 times 1. That was easy, wasn't it? Now, when we do decimal numbers, it's pretty much still very, very easy. Okay. And what you're going to do now is you're going to imagine the 10 and you're moving the decimal place back one spot. Can you figure out the answer? That's exactly right. It was 2. Very good. Okay, and by that same logic, you would move it back the one spot from the whole number to get 10. And of course, you could do these the long way as well. Okay, and by this one, you see that you'd go 2 spots. So the answer would be, that's right, 0.1 or 0.10. Two decimal places, moving back 2 places, the whole number 1. 7 times 3, you do 3 times 7, and then 3 times 0 plus the 2. Remember, 1 decimal spot above the line, 1 decimal spot in the answer. 7/10 times 3 is not 21. It is 2 1/10. This is a little different here. This is 7/10 times 3/10. Therefore, you're going to pay close attention. You have 2 numbers after the decimal in the problem. So the answer is still going to be 21. 7 times 3 is still going to be 21. But that would be 3/10 times 7/10, which is 21/100, and your answer would have to reflect that. Because there are 2 decimal places in the problem, there have to be 2 decimal places in the answer, and that would put the decimal point right here. Okay, and you can kind of see that with the diagram there. Okay, again, we have how many decimal places? If you said 2, you are correct. 4 tenths, 2 tenths. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, and looking at the example here, we have 4 tenths that have been shaded. We went the other direction and shaded 2 tenths. And this overlap of 8 is the answer. But notice it's not 8 tenths. It's 8 out of all 100. 8 hundredths. But 1 decimal place plus 1 decimal place equals 2 decimal places. And our answer also must have 2. Do you know how many decimal places your answer must have? If you said 2, you are correct. Okay, again, we have our 2 tenths shaded. Then we've shaded our 5 tenths. And our overlap will be the answer. The answer should be 10. Do you see the 10 that are shaded? Should be 10 out of 100. And 10 out of 100 will be 10 hundredths. Okay? 10 hundredths. I always like to check mine with the fraction method because we understand that so well. Okay. How would you read this? 0.6? Not the best way. The best way to read it would be 6 tenths times 6 tenths. And in your mind, you can probably get the answer if you think 6 tenths times 6 tenths. Okay, we have 6 one way, 6 the other way. Do you see the overlap? The overlap is the answer. 2 decimal places equals 2 decimal places. You're right. 9 tenths times 4 tenths. So 9 tenths would be shaded in one direction, 4 tenths in the other, and this overlap is the answer. And you have 9 times 4. Okay, which is 36 out of 100. Again, 2 above the line, 2 under the line. Okay, we don't have 3 decimal places. It's not about the number of numbers. It's about numbers that come after the decimal point. So we have 1 that's completely shaded and 2 tenths of another. And then we have 6 tenths. Okay, lots of overlap there. And we end up with 72 hundredths. Okay, multiply. Now, again, we have 2 decimal places, 1 here and 1 here. And then in our answer, we must have 2 decimal places, 11 and 44 hundredths. Oops, I didn't leave that one long enough for you to look at. And you can pause the video at any point to give yourself time to complete it before I do. Okay, this is our first time having 3 decimal places. We have the tenths here and the hundredths here. And we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have 3 decimal places in our answer. Okay. 3 decimal places are going to leave us in the thousandths position. 2 and 325 thousandths. Okay, and again, we have 3 decimal places because there are 3 in our problem. Good job, 5th grade. I hope you understood this lesson. Thank you.